Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm discussing the 4 worst pieces of mentorship advice I have gotten in my decade-long career as a financial advisor. Let's get right into it. 1. Make clients feel inferior. Okay, that advice didn't come to me exactly that way, but someone said to me earlier in my career, and it was someone I looked up to, they said something that stuck in my head. They said, clients kind of enjoy knowing that they're a small fish. They want to know that you're dealing with cases and situations and clients much more sophisticated and much larger than theirs, and thus it elevates their status by working with you. At least that's what they kind of inferred. Now, sounds crazy, right? But there's something with more substance behind this. How should the status hierarchy between two people in an advisor-client relationship be established, right? Should the advisor be in the alpha position because after all, they're the one giving the advice? That way you can ensure that the guidance that you are giving is gonna be followed. Or on the other hand, should you be like the lowly servant, the order taker, just bending over backwards to let the client have their way in every situation? Now, I've definitely laid out like the 2 extremes here, but I'll tell you what didn't work. The short stint that I spent testing this idea that clients liked being treated like they were a small fish, that didn't work, and it felt bad for everyone involved. Now, there are ways to put yourself in a position of good faith, productive authority in a relationship without having to reduce someone else's status relative to other people. And over time, I've come to realize that the best client-advisor relationships are like a dance of mutual respect, and one person takes the reins and then the other person takes the reins, and that's something that you find out in good relationships in time. Advice number 2, deal with high net worth individuals only. You know, I met with a really successful advisor in my city who I really looked up to and admired. And within about 10 or 15 minutes of us talking, he pretty much told me that I needed to stop serving non-high net worth people, start shifting those clients off or selling them to someone else, because if I kept doing what I was doing, I was going to bang my head against the wall for a decade until I slowly let them all go and started focusing on the right types of people. And because of that, I spent a large amount of my career seeing the high net worth landscape as the pinnacle, all I should be focused on, the only thing that was really important. And sure, if all you want to do is optimize your top line, which honestly, who wouldn't, right? This is a great strategy. However, you kind of have to earn your right. It's always going to be easier to deal with someone in your age bracket and in your wealth bracket to start. And as your age bracket and your own wealth bracket grow, so will that of your clientele. And as you get more proficient and you get more evidence that you're doing a great job for the people who are kind of pushing the higher edge of your age or wealth bracket above you, it starts to inspire you and give you confidence that you deserve to be there. And for me, this was advice that I just got way too early. Yes, the historical context and thus like the whole structure of the industry caters to high net worth individuals. But that doesn't mean it's necessary or even helpful to ignore everyone else. Over time, I realized that I just needed a different offer for different people. Because yes, if you present the same offer and the same pricing to a 24-year-old young professional you want as a client, they're just getting started, and you give them the same offer and the same pricing you'd offer a high net worth individual, then yes, you have a business issue. You're gonna bang your head against the wall for years like I did and like this mentor said I would. But your business growth is about catering the offer to the person in question, not just ignoring 90% of the people. 3, sell multiple product lines. I received this advice from nowhere other than, you guessed it, an insurance-focused firm that I used to work for. To them, the panacea of advisor and business success was cross-selling. The hope was that you could start a client off with whatever your specialty was, whether that was planning or investments or insurance or mortgages or like employer 401k group services. And over time, you could cross-sell them all of the other things that would make you an ungodly amount of money. And to me, this advice seemed like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you do that? And it especially seemed like a no-brainer when I realized just how many of my clients were buying houses or saving to buy houses. And I thought to myself, wait a second, if every single person who needs a mortgage that they're telling me about, if they just got it through me, instead of going to the bank, that would be huge for my business, and our clients wouldn't have to deal with so many different people. Not to mention, pays me a lot of money, right? But what I quickly realized after going and getting mortgage licensed and building out our entire mortgage arm of our business was that I ended up doing a half-assed job of everything instead of doing a really good job of 2 things. And it pulled me away from the core competence, which was investing in financial planning. And for the cases that we did on mortgages, it might have even hurt my reputation as a planner on the things that I was good at because the other stuff wasn't going as smoothly as they were used to. But it was a great learning lesson to stay focused on what I'm good at and either refer or hire to someone to do the rest. And I like this idea that focus is the amount of things that you say no to. And 4, don't go off on your own. I was told that what you really want to do is cozy up to a senior advisor, kind of kiss their ass for like a decade or so, and then slowly acquire their book as they start to think about retirement. Otherwise, you're going to try and start something yourself. You're going to encounter all sorts of regulation, red tape, and that's going to screw you at every corner. You're going to hit setback after setback. You're not going to have any brand value behind you or a reputation you could lean on, and thus you'll probably just fail. And so it's much safer and it feels much more cozy to kind of work with someone who's already established. Now, I get it, hanging your own shingle is definitely not for everyone. It's extremely lonely at times, and all of the failure or the success in the business is on you and you alone. However, for me, going off on my own, I think was probably the best thing I ever did. It put me in control of the offers that I built and the way I charged and the branding and the marketing. And honestly, with my personality, I really wouldn't have it any other way, even at the expense of growth or being gifted assets from some senior advisor that I could have worked for. But here's the deal. All of this goes to show that who and where you get your advice from is important. And from these experiences and many more, I've come to believe the following things about mentorship, right? You want to get mentorship from 2 separate types of people who are 30 steps ahead of you and people who are 3 steps ahead of you. And then next, you want to make sure that you're only taking the right advice from the right category. You see, people who are like 30 steps ahead of you can give you great guiding principles like, hey, keep at it, stay the course, keep doing what you're doing, like this encouragement. They can always say things like, make sure you prioritize your relationships with your clients and with your family, because that's really what's important over time. The problem is people who are 30 steps ahead are out of touch with where you're at on the journey and what tactics will actually work for you. Like, oh, this client acquisition channel is working really well in 2025 and this one is not. For those sorts of tactics, the step-by-step strategies, these are much more effectively gained from listening to someone who's 3 steps ahead instead of 30 steps ahead. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Hopefully, maybe if you're considering some of those things that I talked about, maybe this provided some clarity. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.